Hello everybody, the Review Knight here, and today we will be talking about everything that went right with Atlus's Persona series. If this is your first time hearing of Persona, Persona is an action role-playing game made by Atlus, who you may know for the Soul Hacker games or the Catherine games, or you might even know them from the Persona games. I do want to mention that I will only be focusing on Persona 3, 4, and 5, and I will not be talking about Persona 1 or 2. To start off, we will be talking about Persona 3, which released on July 13th, 2006. Persona 3 was a ginormous hit for Atlus, which led them to make movies, merchandise, and even an expansion, which most games didn't have back then on the PS2. Another reason why I think Persona 3 did so well was because it already had a good reputation for itself, but Persona 3 touched a lot more darker topics like suicide and more edgier stuff, you could say, that most games were afraid to touch. Now don't get me wrong, a lot of games back then also talked about that type of topics, but Persona 3 was the one that made a major impact in my opinion. And don't let the music fool you, because the music sounds all joyful and happy, but if you play through the game, it gets pretty dark if you think about it. Side topic, but Persona 3 did so well in the marketing that it even had multiple movies, or not really multiple movies, but a whole bunch of parts made for a movie for Persona 3. And most games don't really get that, and from what I've seen, the reputation for those movies were pretty damn well. Though, unfortunately, if you plan on watching those movies, they're on YouTube, but they're only subbed. There are no dub versions besides the fandom ones, but if for some reason you can find a dub version that's official, then cheers to you. Now, another reason why I think Persona 3 did so well is the way they had their battling setup. As you can see in the video that's playing in the background, they had an entire command section set up. You had your own persona, it had its own abilities, all sorts of good stuff. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it kind of reminded me of how the setup for Final Fantasy used to be before, they changed everything to move around when you attack. Now, the next topic I would like to talk about for Persona 3 is the soundtracks. The soundtracks are amazing in Persona 3. Granted, there are some that I'm not too happy about, but I'm not saying they're bad. A lot of effort went into the soundtracks, and I will give the creators that. Now, I do have news for you if you do plan on playing this game on a newer console. In October, I believe, or sometime in the fall, Atlus is supposed to be releasing Persona 3, 4, and 5 on Xbox, PS4, 5, and I also think Switch and PC. But that's enough talking about Persona 3. Let's move on to our next game. Now we move on to Persona 4. So you see, Persona 4 was decently received and did pretty well, but it did not outpass Persona 3. And Persona 3, in my opinion, is still well received more than Persona 4 will ever be. Now you see, Persona 4 had a major visual update compared to Persona 3. And you could see that if you compare the two. Which, don't get me wrong, I like Persona 3's graphics, but it was a major step up for Persona 4. And now, don't get me wrong, I understand these are both PS2 games, but this is just my personal opinion. Oh yeah, can you guess what Persona 4's main color was? I bet you can't guess it. Well, now for that side topic, we move on to our next topic. So you see, for Persona 4, unlike Persona 3, it was a little bit more lighthearted, and the main thing was facing your true self, or from what I've seen, and I think that's what it is. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Another thing I would like to point out is Persona 4 gave more things to do. You had more social links, you had more personas to use, and you had a lot more places to explore. And I do like the secret ending you can get, which I'm not going to try to spoil anything really for the game. Persona 3 had a lot more to offer that the Persona fanbase hasn't really seen before. But Persona 5 will change that up, and we will talk about Persona 5 in the upcoming minutes. Side topic for everyone though, I do want to apologize for sounding like complete dog ass and having a horrible mic quality. I record these videos through my phone or my PlayStation, and so they're not the best edited, and they don't have the best microphone. But I do want to bring that up, and I sincerely apologize for that. But anyways, continue on with the video. I do like the way Persona 4 had their palaces, or whatever you want to call them, set up. I think a lot of time and effort went into that, and I gotta admit, Atlus does put a lot of effort into their old games. Now, don't get me wrong, Persona 5, for example, it has effort put into it, but you see them making Persona 5 Royal, or Persona 5 Scramble, or Striker, for the hell you want to call it. And it kind of just seems like Atlus is just trying to milk what they can out of Persona 5. But that doesn't mean the game is bad. Granted, remaking a good game... How do I put this? Take the Final Fantasy VII remake with the original. The original was amazing, and still holds up to this day. But the remake, they did a lot with the remake, and I gotta give them credit where credit's due. Square Enix did an amazing job. But right now we're not talking about Square Enix, we're talking about Atlus and the Persona series. So, continue on to Persona 5. Now we move on to our last topic for today, Persona 5. Now, we have a lot to go over, so please bear with me, and if my information is not correct, I apologize, and I will tell you recorrect it if I haven't already. Anyway, you see, I don't know what Persona 5 did that Persona 4 and 3 failed to do, but Persona 5 is one of Atlus's biggest games, in my opinion. I mean, you don't see Persona 3 or Persona 4 getting milked like Persona 5 does. That doesn't tell you anything, it just tells you that, hell, Persona 5 did so much better than what the previous games have. I mean, you can tell they put a lot of effort into it. I mean, hell, they kept delaying it when it originally was supposed to come out. I mean, hell, it's took them since like 2010 to release it, because they didn't say anything much until 2014, and then they delayed it to 2015 with a PS4 port announced, and then 2016 rolled around and they released it in Japan, and then 2017 is when they released it on PS3, PS4, and North America. But hell, with all the stuff that's been put into Persona 5, I think those delays were very much worth it. I mean, they added old personas, new personas, they added a lot more characters that you could have social bonds with, they added a lot more features you can do as the main protagonist, and altogether though, I think it had a really great story. Though, I prefer Persona 4's protagonist story more than Persona 5's. I mean, something about just being a criminal just isn't my thing. But some of the characters in Persona 5 are one of my favorites out of the entire franchise, to be honest. When the other console ports come out for Persona 3, 4, and 5, I asked you guys to at least try one of them, because I'm telling you guys, I'm sure there'll be something you guys at least like. And now with that leads us to our last and final thing. First things first, I want to thank you all for watching today's video. It means a lot that you guys have stopped in to watch. And I continue on doing this series because I have had a lot of fun with it, and people seem to like it. I am always taking feedback from people, and I'm always trying to make each video I make better and better from the last. I know I'm just a small content creator that has no idea how to edit or anything like that, but you guys are the reason why I keep making these videos. And I know when I say you guys, I only mean like 5 or 10 people, but still, just someone watching my video gives me a little bit of confidence to continue on with these video makings. If anyone has any more suggestions for the What Went Right or What Went Wrong series, just leave a comment down below and I will look into it. And yeah, but I would like to thank you guys for being on this journey of a video. And yeah, I guess that's it. I hope you guys have the rest of your good morning, day, evening, and the Dragoon Knight signing off.